Hey guys, what's up? So I've been wanting to make this video for quite some time now, and I've been hesitant because I'm not quite sure that I'm going to be able to correctly word how I'm feeling, but I'm going to try, and I'm gonna, get it over with and hope that it comes across right. But basically, I'm talking about my beliefs, kind of my past a little bit, and religion and Christianity played a huge part in my life. At some point, I went to like a Christian school from pre-K, kindergarten, all the way up through high school. So like my first experience with a public school was junior college, and that was quite an eye-opener for me. It took a few years. I definitely applied every sort of argument that I was indoctrinated with as a child as to like why evolution isn't true and why the earth is only 5,000 years old, and then it just kind of slowly fell apart. Things just didn't make sense to me anymore. I'm also trans. If you are new to this channel, I am FTM, so I was born biologically female and transitioned to male. So there's just a lot in my life that doesn't really fit the narrative of Christianity. It just has not served me in the way that it's probably served some average white dude in America. So it's really been a challenge for me, trying to find where I stand in my faith, what I believe, and where do I go from here, basically. I've been trying really hard to grasp onto what I can of my faith. I think, there's something very comforting in growing up in a religion that tells you to put your trust in God. Having this being in the sky that loves you unconditionally and that is going to take care of all your problems and not give you more than you can handle. All these phrases were all very common, but at the same time, like, even though you're taught these things, there's also this side of judgment that makes it so that unconditional love isn't exactly true, and then the way that religion is structured makes it really hard for me to continue to believe in. I wanted to kind of form my own faith, I guess you could say, or find my own interpretation of what God was, my own interpretation of the Bible, and then thinking of the Bible as more as, a collection or evolution of man's consciousness, which I guess you could say I still kind of think of it that way, but when it comes to my exact beliefs in Christianity, I have to unfortunately say that, like, nothing about it makes sense to me anymore, and nothing about the power structure in the church. It's not something that I can morally get behind anymore. And when you see like huge mega churches with pastors that, live this lavish lifestyle, and they're more so like motivational speakers or gurus, and it's very culty if you really look at it. I mean, the whole evangelical side of Christianity is really culty. I don't know quite, the difference. We have cults, and then we have Christianity that no one really wants to be like, yeah, this is super culty, but I kind of feel like I was indoctrinated. Like, when you grow up in something with no other option, no other belief system or choices or any other viewpoints, it's very much so brainwashing. So it's very hard for me to distinguish the difference between something that is a cult and then something that is Christianity that is not a cult, because I was so indoctrinated that I kind of just put my whole true self to the back burner and only followed my belief system that I was taught growing up. And this is partially, my own fault in not having like a fucking brain. But going to college and growing up and having these life experiences kind of swayed me in the sense to find my own interpretation. And I'm kind of probably repeating myself here, but bear with me, this is so rambly. But even my own interpretation made me, it didn't make sense. There's so much of it that I just don't want any part of anymore. Maybe it's some sort of anger or grief or anything like that, but like I actually have a really hard time walking away from any sort of belief or any sort of faith-based system because it is comforting to me. And it was such a comfort in the past, like moving from feeling like you have this guaranteed afterlife where you're going to heaven and everything's gonna be okay, you're gonna have like a new body, everything's gonna be so peaceful, all that stuff, to going to being unsure about everything. As an anxious person, that is not the most ideal situation. So like actually wanting to hold on to that faith is something, that I so deeply wanted. And I know that there are trans Christians out there. I know there are LGBT Christians out there, and they've formed their own beliefs or have their own interpretation of who God is, what God really is to them, a personal relationship. But even with trying to find my own relationship with God, it's not anywhere near to what I was taught growing up. It in no way fits the Christian faith whatsoever. So I'm not saying that like I'm an atheist. I do feel like there is some sort of higher power, higher energy, something along those lines, but I don't know what that is yet. And will I figure that out? Maybe. But I've struggled lately with knowing that there's LGBT affirming churches in the area. They're becoming more and more, not popular, but they're around. But yet, even then, I've had no urge, zero, to go to church. And I feel kind of like guilty about that, because it's like when you think, oh, like if only you could be a Christian and gay or a Christian and trans, then everything would be okay. But I have this very deep feeling in me that like, even if this wasn't my struggle, even if I wasn't trans or if I wasn't like queer in some way, that I would still find a problem with religion and the power structure that it contains, and just the overall ickiness that I get in my soul when I think about religion and indoctrination and the things that they do. Okay, this is like, I don't want to like when you see children growing up in the way, in a sense, where they have no other viewpoints. This is kind of like how I was, but if you don't want your child to like disown their faith at some point in their life, don't shove it down their throat. Like, give them differing viewpoints, give them options, let them discover what they believe. Don't just tell them like, this is how it is, this is the way, this is the one religion, this is the only religion, this is the one and only true God. Like, let your kid, explore. It doesn't have to be shoved down their throats or indoctrinated. That's just what I have a huge issue with, and it like hurts my heart to see when little kids are not given the opportunity to really explore their own belief system, because it's really easy to just, kids think that their parents are 100% like right all the time, and there's nothing, like, they trust their parents wouldn't tell them anything that wasn't true or whatever. Anyways, I have no idea if any of this is making sense, but what I'm also trying to say is that I have a lot of respect for any LGBTQ Christians. I have nothing against people who have been able to keep their faith. I honestly wish that I could. So those of you that have, and you find comfort in that, and you get spiritually fed through that, then I'm like 100% behind that. If it has a positive impact on your life, then that is awesome, and I encourage you to keep pursuing that. Christianity for me has become more of a toxic thing in my life, and so I'm feeling like I need to almost remove it completely. And I'm probably like making my parents cry right now, or my grandma's probably turning over in her grave, but like it doesn't make sense to me anymore, and I feel like this is like coming out of the closet all over again. It's not an easy thing for me to admit, but I don't want anyone thinking that like I'm in a different place than I am currently. Like, I'll keep you updated, of course, if anything changes, but as of right now, like, I have no association or want any association with the Christian church or Christianity, and it just doesn't. There's a lot of it that just feels a little bit icky to me. So that's where I stand on religion and Christianity. I just really want to reiterate that if you are a Christian, like, I have nothing against you. This is just something that I personally had to come to terms with, something that I'm trying to be as honest as possible with where I am in this whole life, belief, faith thing, and hopefully just being honest is the right thing to do. So on that note, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on, did you grow up in religion? Did you keep your faith? Did you walk away? How did you find comfort in life? And how did you get through kind of like the grieving process of losing your faith, losing that comfort, and what steps you took to kind of like get through that? So that is it. I'm sorry I rambled. I hope this made any sort of sense. Thank you so much for listening. Peace out. I'll see you next time.